Alright, so this one probably no one cares about. This is something that I've been thinking about, and I just want to talk about it. I say nobody's going to care, but at the end of the day, nobody listens to these anyways, so what difference does it really make? This is all basically just therapy for myself to talk about things. So in this one, I wanted to talk about my job again. Only this time, it's a little different, because what happened is I ended up inheriting majority of the CFO responsibilities, but there's a little bit more. So that's what I want to talk about. So anyhow, for starters, how this all began was back in the beginning of April, I think it was, maybe very late March, very early April, somewhere in that range. The CFO decided to put in a 2-week notice. Now, for starters, that's pretty much a dick move right off the bat. I mean, that's a pretty critical, important position. And just to casually put in a 2-week is kind of not the right thing. I mean, you should at least put in a 1-month notice, not just 2 weeks. I mean, in all fairness, we technically still, I don't know how long we had an ad up for, but regardless, like, when I took over this position, we've been trying to find a new chief engineer to cover me, and we've had one candidate, and I'm not going to say he was terrible. He's got a lot of engineering experience, but he's not really the right fit for what we need. We're looking for somebody who understands injection molds pretty decently. I mean, you need somebody that can come in and take over for me, so you need somebody who kind of has an idea of what they're doing. And this guy has a lot of engineering experience and a lot of good experience too. He's been with some good companies, but it's just nothing with mold. So he's like blind to this. Additionally, I use SolidWorks all day, and from what I was gathering during his interview and stuff, it sounds like he has very minimal SolidWorks experience. So that's kind of like a negative as well. I mean, he's actually, it's like a double negative. One, he's going to come in and not know how to do the job because he's not exposed to it before. This is his first time exposure. And two, he's not going to know how to do the job because he won't know how to use the software to get the job done. So unfortunately, he does have a lot of good behind him, but not really a fit for us. And anyways, that's it though. That's all we've had. And it's been like, a month and a half now, and we still haven't had any good hits. I mean, you get some hits, but you get weird ones, like people from India applying. Like, what? We're not looking for somebody from India. We're a company in Connecticut. Like, what the heck? So, anyways, though. So, back to what I was saying about her putting in a 2-week is kind of crappy. Like the chief engineer prior to me, basically the guy that I took over for, he moved on to be the plant manager, and then that didn't really work out. Basically what happened was, from what I understand, after a long time, I didn't know the situation at first, but over time things leak, and I guess he was butting heads with the owner. So the owner, it's a family-owned business. They're on the 3rd generation now of owners, and I guess he had a lot of ideas, things that he wanted to do to change the plant and make it better, because prior to him, the plant manager was the plant manager for like 30-something years. I think he was the plant manager from like 92 until 2020. So what's that, 29 years? One guy? And think about the technological changes during that time, from 92 to 2020. It's a lot of technology changes, and like, my company is very much behind the times when it comes to technology. Like, the main brain of our company is a software from 1978, literally 1978. It's very archaic, and it's getting up there. It's getting old. It's got a lot of problems, and like, we basically just keep putting band-aids on it. But those cracks are getting bigger, and one day the problems are going to be too drastic, and we're going to lose, like, everything that this company runs off of. I mean, we are also in the process of trying to introduce a new software, one that's, cloud-based and all that. So obviously it'll be with the times, and that'll be a massive improvement. But for now, we don't have that. So, we got that going on. We got old machines. I mean, we got machines that are running since the 50s, which, yeah, they still work good. They do the job just fine. But, I mean, come on. Those machines are from the 50s. Like, there's obviously got to be machines out there that are more up to date and advanced and everything. I mean, any improvements would be a massive improvement. I'm sure they can cut down cycle times. They probably have machines that are like computer automated, so that then you can get like a perfect shot size, so there's no waste of material and all that. Like, and we're still using machines from the 50s just because, it still works. But the problem is that's what the previous plant manager and the previous generation of owners did. They didn't want to move forward. They were content with just staying where they were and riding it out. Basically what it is it's a how do I phrase this? Paternal ownership. So the grandfather of the current owner, he's the one that started the business. Well, he didn't actually even start it. It was part of a much larger company, and he worked for that company. But then the branch that we are, it's the plastics branch, they just wanted to get rid of that. They didn't want anything to do with plastics anymore. Their plan was just to straight up scrap it and just no longer have it be a part of them, just nothing. They didn't want to sell it off. They didn't want anything. They just want to basically throw it away. But the current owner's grandpa, when he worked for the company, he wanted to take that and make it his own business. And we actually are able to use the same name too. So even though we're not affiliated with the parent company, we still use that name because back in the day, there was some kind of arrangement that we were able to get a part of the proprietary name rights or whatever it is. I don't know the technical terms, but still. So even though you could say we're stealing the other company's name, we're not. It's part of the deal. Like, we were legally able to share the same name with them, even though we're technically a completely separate company. So anyways, he took that portion on, and I mean, from what I understand, he went into massive debt. He didn't have the money. Basically, he indebted himself to the parent company. Even though they sold it's kind of ironic, because even though they sold the company off to him, after all they wanted to do was just throw it away, well, they sold it, so now they wanted to have him pay them back, but they did it with a weird deal. Like, they basically gave him the credit to get the company, but they expected like big installments in payback per, I don't know if it was week or month, like $100,000 each time. So like I said, I don't know if it was per week that they wanted that or per month. Maybe it was per month, because I mean, we're talking back in the 50s that this happened. So maybe it was per month. They wanted $100,000. So anyhow, at that time, the company was pretty small. I mean, the only customers he had were the customers that the parent company had for their plastics division. And they wanted to get rid of it because it was small, that portion of the company, and it was dying. So, there wasn't very many customers. So making $100,000 plus paying his employees and stuff was like super challenging. And he was basically dead broke for a long time, from what I understand. Like, from what I understand, he sold like his house, and he sold cars that he had. Not like he had a bunch of fancy cars, but just whatever car he had, he got rid of it just so then he could have money to. And anyways, he worked hard, and eventually he got it paid off, and then it paid off for him also. He started to actually make money. He went from millions in the hole to millions positive. And and he grew it. He got a lot of new customers, and he really built it up. So basically what ended up happening is then he handed it off to his son, which is the current owner's father. But yeah, by the time he handed it off to his son, the company was pretty robust. I mean, there was a good client base now. It was making money. It was a solid place. And so that's why he just kind of wanted to ride it out. From what I also understand, the plan was not during those days when he first took over the company. The son, I think he took it over, and I don't really fully know. I think he took it over in like the late 70s, and he was running it up until 2018 or so, 2019, somewhere in that range. So yeah, he was running it for a while. But that's why he kind of never really. Well, anyways, what was I saying? Where am I at? So anyways, he ran it for a long time, but I think the plan was he wanted to, when it came time, he was just going to sell it off, let it die. He didn't, kind of like what the parent company wanted to do, that's what he wanted to do. Just get rid of it. It wasn't going to carry on. But then that's when his son took an interest and took over. So the company still exists because the current owner, the previous owner's son, actually wants to carry it on. But otherwise, the original plan was just to let it die, I think. So that's kind of why he and the previous plant manager were not proactive, because they saw it as, well, whatever, this is doing good enough for us for now. We're doing pretty well. And why am I going to invest all this money into something that I'm just going to throw away anyways in the long run, you know? It's like buying sexy napkins. What's the point? You're just going to wipe your face and throw them away. They're going to get dirty and then go straight to the trash. Why spend extra money on something that literally gets used to go in the trash specifically? So yeah, and it's weird too, because I keep saying the previous plant manager because he was the previous plant manager, but it's like over time somehow he became close friends with the owner. So he became a little bit more than just plant manager. He was like plant manager / unofficial co-owner. Like I don't think he has any type of stake in the company like that in terms of co-ownership, but he kind of was like at that level because they were close. Like they hung out and stuff. From what I understand, they still hang out to this day, even though he's retired, the previous owner. As far as the previous plant manager, this guy's well into his 70s, but he still shows up every day for no reason. He just made up a position for himself. Now he's the COO. But it's like, well, hold on. There's conspiracy theories in the plant as to why he sticks around too. He always tries to say, oh, I'm just helping out. You know, I'm helping out the new owner. I'd say like an initial for his name, but it's not really going to work because the initial, I can't, whatever. I'll just keep it anonymous. JB, let's just call him JB. JB, he's like, oh, I'm just here to help out JB. But what a lot of the people really think is all these years that he was the plant manager, they think he's done a lot of shady stuff and like, you know, kind of figured out ways to brush stuff under the rug, so to speak. And they think maybe there was some kind of possible slight embezzlement. Yeah, he didn't have direct access to the money, but they're thinking maybe somehow he found ways to embezzle. And so the conspiracy theory is that he sticks around not because he's worried about helping out, but because he's trying to make sure that everything that he's done over the years doesn't get exposed. You know, the previous owner was his boy, so he didn't have to worry during those days. Probably felt like he was fine. He's not going to get caught by his homie. But now it's his, you know, boy's son. It's somebody different who might have a different approach to if he found out that, you know, he's been screwing over the family company and stuff. So, yeah, the theory is that he sticks around. Instead of just retiring like a normal person in their mid-70s, they think that he's just sticking around to try to make sure that everything that he's done crooked over the years stays hidden. But anyways, I gave all this huge backstory just to say that about the previous chief engineer that I replaced, who became plant manager, ended up quitting because they think, or I heard, that he was butting heads with the owner because he wanted to make changes, but the owner wasn't doing it because he kept this COO guy on, and of course he was against it because he always was. And so, yeah, he's basically a problem. Like, nothing at this company is going to get better until he's gone. Seriously, the day that he finally retires or dies, I feel like he's going to die before he retires. So that's another running joke. They always say he's going to be the richest corpse or something. What, the richest dead guy, richest... I don't know. What, I don't know how they phrase it. But, you know, it means like he's going to die and be wealthy, and just because he never took the time to enjoy life and spend any of it, go on trips and stuff with his wife and whatever. He just kept working. And then he's just going to die rich. Like, oh, okay, cool. Good for you. Now you're dead with all this money. What good's it doing you? But anyhow. Yeah, so as long as he stays, nothing's going to change. And it's like, I guarantee that as soon as he leaves, quits or dies, things will get better. Because everybody has ideas on how to make things better. But as long as he's there saying, nah, we can't do that. Nah, we shouldn't do that. Nah, it's always worked this way, so why try that? Then nothing's going to change. And so anyways, that was the problem with the plant manager that used to be the chief engineer. He had ideas on how to improve the plant, but they never would try them out because he would always, nah, we don't need to. We used to do it this way, and it's always worked. Yeah, it's worked this way for 30 years. Why shake it up? And like, it's understandable that he's frustrated. Like, he's the plant manager now. Let me, you know what I mean, from his perspective, let me do what I want to do to make this plant better. Just trust me. Let me try it. If I fail, fine, I failed. Okay, we'll go back to your way. But let me just try this. And nope, they never did. So he ended up leaving. But anyways, super long story. Just to get to this point, he put in a one month notice. And at the end of the day, he was only the plant manager, meaning, I'm not saying that's an insignificant position, but like we still had the COO who could step in if needed temporarily to be the plant manager again, like he used to be. And we also had plenty of people in the plant that we could have chosen to promote, which is what we did anyways. We actually kind of promoted 2 people. We promoted one guy who, I don't know, had experience with at least half the positions. There's about 7 positions in the shop. He had experience with 4 of them. So, it kind of made him a good fit. And we promoted somebody else to be his assistant, which I don't think anybody... Yeah, actually, no. Nobody had an assistant before. The current COO didn't have an assistant, and the last guy didn't have an assistant. So, yeah, they just promoted people in the plant anyways. So, at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. Where when she left, it was a big deal. She was the go-to person. And when you just casually quit and no one else is around to... who else is sitting around with finance experience or accounting experience or both and can just step up? Nobody. That's a niche, whatever that word is, position that she had. And super critical. It's all about the money. If nobody's handling the money, then nobody's getting paid. That means employees aren't getting paid. That means vendors aren't getting paid. That means, when we're getting paid, nobody's processing those payments. That means... taxes aren't getting paid. Then the buildings get liens on them and all this. And, So, critical... Whoops. I don't mean to just say whoops at Norm, but I'm driving. Like I always do when I make these. And there was a guy. He's just sitting on the side of the road leaving a driveway. But I have my highs on because my lows suck. I don't know if you've heard about it, but the Nissan Altimas, like the 2000... What years are they? 12 to 18 or something? There's a current lawsuit over the headlights because they're trash, and the lawsuit is like the headlights suck due to a delamination of the bulbs that reduces the reflectivity of the globes or whatever. Or maybe I said that backwards. The globes have a delamination that makes the bulbs less refractive. But yeah, on low, my lights suck. I can barely see. Half the time I think my lights are off. There's even been one time that I pulled over and got out of my car to double check that they were on. That's how bad they are. So, when possible, I drive with my highs on. Now, I know that might sound weird. Like, everybody does that. It's like, okay, what are you talking about? You drive with your highs on. Yeah, that's what everyone does. But not me. I never did. I never drove with my highs on. I never needed to. My lows were always sufficient enough. But in this car, they're so trash that I can't see with only my lows on. So anyways, I have to drive with my highs on, and I hate it because, 1, every time there's a car, I need to remember to put my lows on, and 2, or, I need to remember to turn my highs off, whichever way you want to phrase it. But anyways, and 2, when I flick my lows on, then I can't see again, and I'm like blinded by the other car because it's like I have no lights on, and it's just their full-on lights blaring at me. Anyhow, like I said, there's a lawsuit, and I filled out all the paperwork needed for it, so I'm hoping that when the settlement happens, or whatever's supposed to happen, there is going to be a settlement, so whenever this is finalized, I think what's supposed to happen is I'm going to be able to get a voucher to get my headlights replaced for free, or the globes replaced for free, and yeah, that'll be great. If that actually makes a huge difference and my lights are good, that'll be awesome, because it's got to be the globes, because I've even bought 2 new headlights, and I bought good ones too. I didn't buy like the basic. I think I spent like $100 per light, which maybe doesn't sound like anything special because I know it's not really. My Cadillac used to be $220 for the globes, although that was a complete assembly. It's not just the bulb. This is just a bulb for a stupid Nissan Altima, and it cost me $100. Well, $200 if you count both of them. So. But yeah, I don't know, there was some kind of juicy, over-the-top halogen, blah, blah, blah. Like, I got some sexy-sounding lights, and I still can't see. So I'm like, it can't be the bulbs. It's definitely those stupid globes. So anyways, hopefully, when this lawsuit's all finalized and said and done, I can get new globes for free, and hopefully my lights are good then. But anyways, long tangent aside, there was a guy sitting on the side of the road trying to pull out of, I don't know, it's like a business, but I think he lives there too. So I don't know, his home / place of work. And yeah, I had my eyes on, and even though he's not driving or anything, still I kind of accidentally blinded him. That's why I said whoops. But I don't think it really matters. I mean, he's just sitting there waiting to pull out. That don't matter, right? I don't know. Anyways, back to the story. So yeah, even me, when I was working at my last company, where I was just like a programmer. I know that sounds a little more sexy than it is, but I still gave that company 3 weeks notice. Like, I didn't have such a, well, I kind of was critical, but it wasn't as critical as a CFO. You know what I mean? And I even gave them 3 weeks. And I had 2 people trained up. I trained them, and I made a training manual. And I still gave them 3 weeks notice before I left. So, you know, I'm just trying to illustrate how much of like a dick move her 2-week notice was. Like, I get that's a standard thing, 2 weeks, but like usually that's for like a trash job. Like, you work McDonald's or something, Burger King, you know, minimum wage, easily replaceable. Okay, I'll have 15 people apply for your job within the next week. Anyways, you can only I just need a 1 week notice. I don't need the 2. I'll be fine. I can get 12 new people in here to replace you. Like, I'm not worried. And the job's so simple that these people are trained in 1 or 2 days anyways. You know, you're not just gonna train somebody 1 or 2 days to do a full-on CFO job. And then finding a new CFO, that's kind of niche too. What do you put out for a ad? Oh, we're looking for a CFO. You need to have a finance degree or accounting. Like, that's application specific. You know what I mean? Like, that's not just people walking around like, oh, geez, I got 2 of those. And my company's kind of cheap, so I'm sure if you do have those, most people aren't going to come to settle at our company. They're going to be like, what? That's all you're going to offer me? That's half of what I was making at my last company. Jeez, I'm looking to move up, not down. So that's the other aspect as well. But anyways, so yeah, she put in her 2 weeks notice, and then it became a situation like, what the F are we going to do? Well, for like the owner. So I'm good with numbers. I have a bachelor's in math. I'm good with numbers. That's my thing. So HR recommended it to the owner, like, hey, how about you give him a shot, see if he can handle this? And then he talked to me and he was like, you know what? I think this could be a good idea. So that's what happened. I was trained up in 2 weeks by her how to do this stuff. And I had the previous CFO before her come in and train me for a week. And then basically I was on my own. And for the most part, I feel like I've been killing it. Considering I have 3 weeks of training to do a full-on accounting and finance job when I have no accounting or finance degree, I'm definitely killing it. But, not to be smug or anything, but I mean, it's kind of a given. I mean, it's me. I'm ridiculously book smart. You know, my mom always, even still to this day, makes fun of me and says, you know, you're really smart, but you have no common sense. Anything common sense, you're stupid. But if someone gives you a book, you got this. And I always see that as like a compliment, because the way I look at it is common sense means it's common. Everybody's thinking it. I feel like the uncommon sense, which I guess is what I have, is better, because that's how new innovations come about and stuff. You know, you think any invention that was ever created, the light bulb or spaceships or cars or anything like that, was created by people with common sense? No, they had the uncommon sense. They thought, as they say, outside the box and came up with something. You know, everybody else is just a person day to day living their life because they have common sense. So I always see that as a good thing. Like, good. I don't want common sense. I want to be my own person and be above the rest, if you will. But anyways, yeah, I've always been very good at learning. Like I said, not to try to, I don't know, oversell myself or whatever. It's true. It's a skill I have. I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a savant or anything or genius or anything like that. I'm not. I can learn easily. And like, I remember, I don't know why I'm phrasing as I remember, but like back during my high school days, I used to study for a test for like 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'd get an easy, some kind of A on the test, 90, 93. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect 100, but considering how little time I put into studying, a 93 is pretty good for studying for 15 minutes. Like, and I always thought it was kind of weird because, like, I'd hear other kids talking about how they studied for 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Oh, I studied so long last night. I was studying for 4 hours, and they get like an 85, and they're like, oh my God, I did so good, it paid off. And I always thought, you studied for 4.5 hours and all you got was an 85? I studied for 15 minutes and I got a 93. If I put 4.5 hours in, I'd be teaching the class. Like, what the heck? But yeah, it's just a skill I have. I can learn very easily, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, we also have a company accountant. I'm sure every company has a company accountant. And like he says, my progression has been pretty substantial. The previous CFO, so he came in for 1 week to train me. And then the second week, he basically never came in because by the end of the first week, he said, I have nothing to train you for. Everything that I can think of, you already know. So I went from not knowing anything about that position at all to being at the point where the previous CFO is like, yeah, you're good. I don't know what you'd need help with. You seem to have this. All within a matter of 3 weeks. So yeah, I really was a great pick for this. And so yeah, anyhow though, the only issue I had was, not only was I taking on the CFO responsibilities, but I'm still the chief engineer. So things were getting, I don't know how to put this, extremely, insanely, obnoxiously, way over the top busy for me. Very, very busy. It had gotten to the point where basically what was happening is I was working doubles, not every day, but like 3 days a week. I'd have to work a double. And I would do accounting stuff all day during normal business hours, and then I'd stay during off hours and do engineering. Now, luckily, I've been doing engineering for almost 11 years now, so engineering's simple to me. I can bang out a whole project in about 4 hours versus the CFO stuff that I'm learning. I need all day. But yeah, the engineering, I can plow right through that, no problem. But still, I mean, I'd have to stay till 9, 10 o'clock at night, even though we're supposed to get out at 4, because I had to do it. I mean, somebody's got to do it. The engineering stuff just can't be put to the side. It's just as important as the CFO stuff. So, yeah, and then it was like, I don't know, it just felt, I don't want to say, well, yeah, overwhelming, I guess, because then it started to get to the point where I even had to come in on weekends. I was coming in on Saturday. I'd work from like, I don't know, 7 a.m. till 10. The only reason I left at 10 is so I could go to my daughter's soccer game. If she didn't have a soccer game, I would have stayed probably until noon. And then I was in on Sundays. And yeah, it was getting psychotic. But at the same time, I thought, well, this is something good for me professionally, as it builds more, makes me more valuable to the company. Obviously, the more skills I have, the more I can offer. So if ever anything fell through, like say something happened with engineering and they became severely dissatisfied with my engineering abilities. I've been there for almost 3 years now. They've been very satisfied with my engineering abilities, so I don't think that would happen. But just hypothetically, well, this opens up a door though. Now I could do some kind of accounting stuff, whether it's just AR or just AP or the whole CFO thing. You know, it broadens my horizons. Also, it just makes me more valuable in general. Somebody goes on vacation, maybe I can cover. Or, you know what I mean? It makes it also harder to get rid of me. You really want to fire... I mean, it's funny because my company has 4 top positions. There's the plant manager. There's... what are the positions? Oh, yeah, VP of sales. There's chief engineer. And there's CFO. Those are the top 4 positions right under the owner. And it's funny because right now, I'm 2 of those, the CFO and the chief engineer. So I'm 50% important in that company. You know what I mean? Like, I have a majority shareholding, stakeholding, whatever you want to say, of importance. So, yeah. So it makes it harder. Like, if something were to happen and they want to get rid of me, it just makes it harder. Do you really want to get rid of a guy that can do a lot for you? I don't know. Do you? I mean, you might want to, but if you really think about it, you might come to terms that that's not a good idea. I mean, just think about how much of a hassle you went through just to cover this one position. Now you'd possibly be covering 2 positions. You know what I mean? I can do 2 things. So do you really want to get rid of somebody that can do 2 jobs for you? I don't know. So, it's kind of like more job security for me. And also it helps me just in general. Like, I've been trying to get into a school to teach a class forever, since 2015. And the more that I know, then the more that I can offer to that college. I mean, right now I wouldn't say I can teach accounting or anything because I'm super rookie. I've been doing it for, a month? Month and a half maybe. But still, say I do this for a couple of years, then yeah, I'll know enough. And I could teach like an intro to finance or something, intro to accounting at least, maybe not finance, but intro to accounting. And that just broadens my horizons and my value and what I can offer and stuff. So yeah, so that's one thing. And the second thing is I thought, well, even though I'm doing a lot of work, as long as I get like compensated properly for it, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, whatever her salary was, say they give me half of it in addition to what I'm doing now. Like, say she was making, just for an easy number, $100,000 a year. If they give me $50,000 on top of what I'm already getting, I'm good with that. So yeah, working all these crazy hours is worth it then. So that's kind of like my thought process that I had. It sucked. I hated working all those hours and being kind of overwhelmed and stuff. But I saw it as, well, there is some good with it, so... And at the end of the day, I'm like, I kind of did volunteer for this. So, I mean, I brought this on myself. It's not like they put it on me like, hey, can you do this for me? I was kind of like, hey, I can do this for you. So I'm like, well, I'm not really in the position to complain, I guess, because I had time to assess the risks, if you want to call them risks, and I still went for it. Yeah, so I think, though, at the end of the day, the biggest struggles were learning the software. That's really what kind of slowed me down, was just trying to get the hang of the software. As far as doing the job, I mean, I thought in the very beginning of even taking this on that it was going to be easy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just accounting, and it's just paying bills and cashing checks. Like, how hard is that really? And after doing it for a month, I still got the same mindset. It's just the software, that's all. I basically had to learn, well, 2 softwares. And, then there's a few websites that I have to get familiarized with. But, that's basically the biggest struggle. However, the thing is with accounting, why I can only focus on that during the day is because, it's, like I said, it's not that hard, but there's actually way more work involved than I thought. Geez, accounts payable on its own is sometimes crazy. There's days where I literally got like 40 invoices, and then I gotta enter all those. And again, it's not hard, but it's very tedious. I gotta put the customer in, the invoice date, the invoice number, the amount. I gotta bill it to a what do you call it? An account. I gotta bill it to I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but there's tons of little accounts I gotta put it to. So like, is this a cost of sales? Is this a freight in? Is this a freight out expense? Is this a revenue expense? Is this, you know what I mean? Some stuff like that. Just an account thing, whatever the word is I'm looking for, that I gotta bill it to. So I gotta choose that. And yeah, it's not hard. It just takes forever. When you got 40 of them, you're looking at like 2-3 hours just entering this stuff. And that's just the payable. Then there's the receivable. If I get money in, I gotta cash those checks. Or sometimes they wire us money, but you gotta make sure that you put the money to the invoices, so then they kind of like just get registered as they're paid. And then there's reconciling the bank. So every day you gotta reconcile the bank, which is basically just get the bank statement for the day and then match it to our internal software. Well, it's not really internal. I guess it's backed up to the cloud, but it's just our own side of things. Like, the bank controls the bank side of stuff, and all we see is a statement. So then there's our side that we can control that basically should be exactly in line with the bank, but it's the side that we can play with. We can't play with what the bank has, you know what I mean? So I gotta do that. Then there's the quotes, the accounting quotes. Accounting quotes, geez, those can take all day just themselves, never mind getting around to anything else. So, there's been days where I've literally had quotes all day, and then, I have a stack of accounts payable that I can't register. I have the bank that I can't reconcile, and And then we have Wednesdays, which is the check run day. Actually, Wednesdays is check run day, and I typically try to pay the payroll tax, because usually payroll is completed by Tuesday. Even though pay day isn't until Friday, we still complete payroll on Tuesday. So, but then I have to pay the payroll taxes, so I do that, and I do a check run. And check runs are, my first one I totally screwed up. Luckily, I've gotten way better at it since then, so it's not hard now. But again, it's tedious. There's a lot to remember. You got to go through and first select what you want to pay. Then you got to make sure that those line up with the actual software. So that then when you go to print the checks, you're only printing the things that you want. Then you got to print the checks. Then you got to get the checks signed. Then you got to take off a stub for us, fold them all, put them in envelopes, stamp them all. Yeah. And what else? I don't like just the check run alone. It's not hard. It's very easy, but it's just super time consuming. I mean, it's literally like 4 hours for me to do a check run. From the very start to when I'm finally done. It's probably about 4 hours total. It just takes forever. Easy, but just takes forever. Very time consuming. So yeah, that's something I didn't realize. Like, I thought the job's easy, but I didn't realize how busy it was. I think what also made me not realize how busy the job is because the previous CFO, when she was there, I mean, a lot of times it seemed like she was just like dicking around. She'd be talking to people all day. It seemed like she had all the time in the world to just chat. There'd be times when I'd go in her office to ask her a quick question, and it would turn into an hour and a half of her just talking the whole time. Literally, because I'm not really a conversationalist. I'm not good at conversation. I don't want to talk. If I'm going to see you for a quick question, I just want a quick answer. And, yeah, she would just keep going and going and going. So I always felt like she must have time if you can waste time to talk to me forever. But then I take over her job, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so big. How? What? But from what I also hear, she took home a lot of work. From what I also hear, she took home a lot of work with her, too. Which makes sense, because if you're dicking around chatting all day, you ain't doing your work at work. So, of course, it ends up becoming homework for you. But yeah. So anyways, that's kind of where I was at for a couple weeks. Until recently. They actually decided to change things. I am no longer CFO. No fault of my own. I'm not demoted because I sucked at the job or whatever. It's basically a strategic move that the owner, the previous CFO, the one that trained me for a week, and the accountant came up with together. So what their plan is I guess based on how our last CFO kind of really screwed them over badly and just, 2 weeks and dipped out, it kind of put like a little bit of fear in them. Well, in him. I say them, the owner, him. So I think he doesn't really want to invest in one position anymore. So I think the CFO position basically is going extinct. And what's going to happen is the CFO duties are going to be spread out amongst a bunch of us. So what's happening now is I am going to be only responsible for the quoting part of things. So I'm still going to be chief engineer, and I'm going to be responsible for just the quotes, which kind of makes sense because the quotes, I mean, you have to work with engineering anyways. I always had to fill out a sheet for her first before she could do her part of the quoting. And so it just makes sense if I do the next step as well. I start it, I might as well finish it, you know what I mean? Additionally, since I've been doing accounting quotes, there really have been, a few times where I reference engineering files to help me with the accounting quote anyways. And I always think, man, good thing I have access to this. This would be hard if I didn't have this stuff. And I think about her, and I'm like, how did she do this without having these engineering files? Because the thing is the way that our server works is certain folders are locked off to people that don't need to have access to them. Like, for example, I don't have access to the sales folders. I don't have access to purchasing folders because, well, I don't need to have access to those. But obviously people in sales have full access to the sales folders. People in purchasing the person in purchasing has full access to purchasing. Same with engineering. I have full access to engineering folders because, duh, I need it. I'm in engineering. And I think quality has some access, not full access, but they have a good amount of access to my folders. And I think the tool room does as well. Same situation as quality. The tool room has some access, not full, but a decent amount. And as far as anybody else, though, I don't think anyone else can access my engineering folders. So that's what I'm saying. Like with her, I don't think she would have had access to my engineering folders. Now I say I don't think because at the same time, for some reason, she was like our in-house IT. I mean, we have an outside IT guy as well, but she was like our in-house IT that you'd go to first, and then if she couldn't figure it out, she'd reach out to the IT guy himself. And yeah, so she was able to set who could have access to what. So then there's that as well. Like one thing that makes me annoyed is her accounting folder. I don't have access to her dang accounting folder. Like, I was supposed to be taken over to be the CFO and all this, but I don't have access to her accounting folder. What she did is she made a accounting folder for me and put select files in there. But then she gave the owner's son, he works there too. He's just in customer service, but like, he has full access to that folder. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it. I mean, he's the next generation. But at the same time, if I'm doing the CFO stuff, why does he have full access to the accounting folder and I don't? I have no access other than to the one that she made for me. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be doing only quotes. For now, I'm still doing accounts receivable because what our plan is we want to get somebody in, just like a clerk, somebody that's just, kind of does grunt work, and they're going to take over receivable and a few other things. They're working on building up what the position fully will be before they start looking for somebody. At this time, that's really the only thing on their list, that they'd be accounts receivable, but that's not really a full position. I mean, accounts receivable, I can get that handled in 2 hours and I'm done. So accounts payable, now that could be a full-time job because that's a lot of work. But here's the situation with accounts payable. Accounts payable is going to go to the purchasing department. And how they're going to try to work this is they're going to have it so that the purchaser, the software that the purchaser uses, it's going to, I guess there's an add-on or something, or a feature that we've just never used that they're going to start utilizing. And basically it's going to make things almost fully automatic. Basically, she's going to submit a PO, and then when the invoice comes in, it'll just automatically link up to that PO. And then it's also going to be able to analyze like aged reports, and it'll be able to make automatic payments once a bill is due, like by 30 days or whatever. So that'll vastly help out and really streamline things, though, because right now accounts payable takes up a lot of time, like I already said. Between all the invoices, how long they take to input, and then the check runs, that's half a day right there. So if this is fully automated up, basically the purchaser is just going to do their job exactly the same as she always has, issue POs and what have you. And basically, if this is set up properly, everything else will just fall into line on its own. So essentially, even though she will become responsible for accounts payable is basically being dissolved for all intents and purposes. So that's why the clerk wouldn't have that position. And then, let's see, payroll. So payroll I already didn't have. Initially, I was supposed to have salary payroll, and I had it for 1 week. And then they took it away and they gave it to the owner's son. So he is doing salary payroll, and he's doing 401k. And from what I understand, that's going to continue. He's still going to be responsible for those. Hourly payroll is the HR manager, which it always has been that anyways. And yeah. And then what else for the job? Quotes, AR, AP. Yeah, so I guess that's roughly everything. The only thing I don't know right now, but I guess this would become the clerk thing, so for now I guess I'll still handle this, but it's the bank reconciliation. There's no, that doesn't really fall into AP or AR or anything. It's just something that we just do to make sure that our files are up to date, more or less. So for now, I'm still doing that, but I guess once we get a clerk, it would become their job. Then the only other thing is end of period. So we have 13 periods a week. Wow. A year. Each one is 4 weeks long. And again, that was something the CFO was doing, was handling end of period. Well, when the CFO left, that week was end of period. So I had to do an end of period my very first week doing the CFO stuff. Well, now end of period is this week. Today is May 17th. Our end of period is, I think the 21st is Saturday. 18 is Wednesday. 19, 20, 21st is our end of period, which means next week we have to do the reports. I don't know if that's still on me right now, or if the accountant or the previous CFO is going to handle it. The last period, I did half the period end, and they handled the other half. So maybe they're going to have me do half again, and they'll do the other half. I don't know. But anyways, at the end of the day, that will become not my responsibility at all. I just don't know who that'll go to. I guess if we get a clerk, it might become their thing, just so that they can have, a little bit more responsibilities besides nothing. But for now, I don't even know where that is. So anyways, at the end of the day, this is what I think about all this. On one hand, it's pretty cool because all this ridiculous workload that I've had has sucked. It's been very stressful. It's been a lot. I've been putting in a severe amount of overtime for free because I'm salary. So I've been working all these extra hours, but I get nothing for it. So that has sucked. And my nights are just, even my videos, I had a span of making no videos, not because I was slacking. I want to make videos. I have a lot of video ideas, but I just didn't have time. I would work, from 7:30 in the morning till 9 at night. By the time I get home, it's 9:30, so you're looking at, 14-hour day? And then it's I'm just tired. I don't want to make a video. That feels like work for free still. I just put in free work with overtime. I don't want to put in more free work. So, yeah. So then I would just kind of relax and then go to bed. So now it's nice. 4 o'clock rolls around and it's holy crap, I can leave. And it's weird because I'm so used to being jam-packed busy, but at the same time, it's very nice. And I don't have to worry about weekends anymore. That's nice. I can relax. I don't have to, oh crap, I gotta go to work just because I need to try to catch up. No. Same as homework. One week I brought stuff home with me because I had to. There's no way. I didn't have enough time at work, and now I don't have to worry about that. There is no homework. I can enjoy my weekend, which is cool. The other thing is, I feel so, how do I put this? It's a weird feeling. I went from being super jamming busy, wicked busy, for 2-3 weeks there, to now that they've started to take some of this stuff away from me, I don't have AP anymore. And, well, that's about it. I don't have AP. But just taking away AP right now has been making such a huge difference. It's weird. I bang out my normal morning stuff, and then usually what I did was I handled all the AP in the afternoon, and then the afternoon comes around and I don't have any AP, because it's not my responsibility anymore, and I'm well, this is weird. So what do I do now? And the other thing is, I don't really have any engineering to do right now, because the accounting stuff was so heavily dominant in my day-to-day, and kind of more important in a way than engineering for the company as a whole. I mean, paying your bills is more important than designing stuff. I can design all the stuff in the world, but if the bills aren't paid and the, lights get shut off and all that, then what do my designs matter for? So, anyhow, the engineering stuff's been kind of quiet. Nobody's really come to me for anything. So it's now I'm in a weird flux, because I went from being ridiculously busy to now I almost have nothing to do. I finish my job by noon, and then I'm I don't have anything engineering to do. I'm done with accounting. What the heck am I supposed to do now? It's weird. It's nice. The last 3 weeks have been psychotic, so this is nice to just sit there bored, but at the same time, it's very weird. I don't want to just be sitting there. Luckily, I do have a project I can work on. It's mildly a big project for engineering, so that's nice. It's a little bigger than I thought it was going to be, so that makes it even better. So that'll definitely take up, it's engineering. I'll bang it right out. It'll probably take me a week, but still, at least I have a solid week of work to do now, so I'm not just sitting around But yeah, it's weird, but nice. Anyway, though, so that's on one hand. On the other hand, though, I'm a little disappointed because I'm no. I do like doing engineering, and I like making products and seeing them on the shelves and stuff. Like, there's some products that I've made that actually are on the market, and it's cool to see, like, whoa, this is mine. I did this. This exists because of my efforts. And I know the whole history of it, and it's cool. But I've been doing engineering for 11 years, and I thought, hey, this could be cool to switch it up, do something different now. Okay, I can do accounting, whatever. I can switch paths. But now that they're taking it away, it's like, oh, man, I guess I'm not switching paths. I'm still doing this, which is fine, but still, it's kind of exciting, like a glimpse into something new. And then they're like, nah, and then I'm like, oh. The other thing is, there was the potential that I could have made, like, a good amount of money, and now I'm like, well, what happens with that now? Do I miss out on that? Because now I'm not the CFO anymore? I'm like, dang it. And I also can't really throw it in their face that I'm CFO and chief engineer anymore, because I'm not. I'm just chief engineer and AR. And soon enough, that'll fall off, and I'm just chief engineer and quotes, whatever. Who cares about that? So then it's like, oh, that's depressing too, dang it. I don't want to miss out on work, job security and money and stuff. So yeah, that kind of sucks. But it makes sense what they're doing. I get it. This does make sense. This plan is pretty solid. It really makes sense. They explain it. Well, the accountant explained it to me, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's actually a good plan. That's thought out. Because in the beginning, when she put in her 2 weeks, it was just like, and we didn't have any plans yet. Like, we needed to figure something out. We had 2 weeks to figure something out. So we did what was the best option, which was train me up. But now we've had time to think. I've been doing good at the job, so nobody's had to be too stressed out. So we've just been thinking. And this is the plan they came up with. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It's fair. It's just, I don't know, from my angle, I'm like, dang it. I feel like I had an opportunity and now I lost it. And that means I miss out on money. And I miss out on those chances to, better sell myself out of college or something. And you know what I mean? All those other little things. I don't know. What else was I gonna say? I thought I had one more side note. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about. Just my job and my temporary second job within the company. Yeah, I guess that's all. If anything else that I think of pops up, I'll just put it in the description. And if you listen to this thing, thanks for hanging out with me for about an hour or whatever it's been. And until next time, I said see ya.
Oh, hold up. I guess this is a PS. Oops. I said I'd put the other things in, the description if I thought of them, but, I did finally rethink of them, and there's kind of a lot of things to say, so I don't really want to write all that. So I'll just add it on here. See, what happened was, when I was recording this before, I was sitting in my living room, and I wanted to play Lego City Undercover. And I'm just watching the time. I mean, it was getting late. It was like 10:30 when I'm still doing this. And so I'm talking, but then I'm thinking, God dang it. It's getting late. I'm not going to be able to play my game. So then I kind of just blanked on this other stuff. It's almost like subconsciously my body made me forget just so I could play the game instead. So anyways, let's get into it. So one thing that I wanted to add was the amount of emails you get from ARAP is, man, it's ridiculous. It's way more than I would have thought. I had, my engineering emails is usually maybe 10 a day, no big deal. Most of them are junk. They come in, I just delete them right away. No worry. But when I took over APAR, oh my word, it's I get maybe 100 a day. There's 28 as soon as I walk in the door and turn my computer on. There's just 28 waiting for me. And then there's just a ton throughout the day. Another thing, too, is, man, these people looking for their money is annoying. I have one vendor. Who was it? I don't remember offhand. It's one of the two that bug the crap out of me all the time, though. And, they're looking for payments on stuff that's not even due yet. Our terms are net 30 or something. And, these bills still had, 5 days before they were at the net 30. Then another one had, 15 days. And they're adding it on us. When are we going to see payment for these? I don't care about those ones. You're not going to see that for a while. Just let me know about the upcoming ones. But, yeah, they're so annoying. I got one company, I'll just say it, Bichem.
They're a company in Mexico. They make raw materials for us. And oh my word, these people literally bug me like every single day. And it's like, what do you expect is going to change? I already told you yesterday what was happening. Can you give me a status update on this? Yeah, I told you I do check runs on Wednesdays. Today is Monday. Why are you bugging me? Is it Thursday? No, it's not even Wednesday. They're so annoying. Or I got another one that's bugging me all the time too, and it's like, first off, the amounts that they want, it's not even that much. They were bugging me for $99 one time. I'm like, in the grand scheme of your business, $99 is nothing. Actually, in the grand scheme of any business, $99 is nothing. Like, if you were relying on $99 to help you get through with some kind of jam, I don't know what kind of pathetic jam you're in, that $99 is going to cover it. Because now that I do AR and AP, I mean, I know that there's absolutely nothing that $99 is going to cover. We're not going to get a check for $100 and be like, whew, we're good for this month. Oh my God, this money saved us. Whew. We might be able to get bonuses. No, it's not 1803. So yeah, they send me out a message for that. I'm like, seriously? Yeah, this is no big deal. I can pay this whenever because $99 is nothing in the business world. But like, you're seriously bugging me for $99? And then some of the people, there's one girl, what the heck is she from? Techniplex. What does Techniplex make us? I think they make us liners for the caps. And oh my word, she harasses you like it's her money. Like she acts like you personally owe her money. And she's like, okay, I gave you this a month ago. You told me you'd have it to me next payday. It's been like 3 pays that you've had and you still haven't given me my money. Where's my money at? And it's like, woman, calm down. This is Techniplex's money. What are you so... What do you care so much for? Like, just casually send out a request and just call it a day. Like, she takes it personal. It's weird. It's way too aggressive. It's just, like, when we send out a payment, whatever you call it, it's an aged invoice. I don't know what the heck it's called. All I know, I don't do the reach out for money side of things. That's HR does that. That's just because that's how the CFO set it up. And so it still goes that way. But yeah, I don't know what it's called. It's from an aged invoice report. But I don't know what the heck it's called when we bug people. But anyway, when she sends out a message, it's just kind of casual. Hey, we noticed we had this invoice past due. Can you please provide payment status? End of story. And then they give us an answer. That's it. We don't respond. We're just okay, cool. Not this woman. It's like she harasses me. Then I give her an answer, and then she like mildly harasses me still. Okay, well, when you get that check, make sure that you give me the check number and when it went out in the mail, so that way then I can be sure to look for it. And it's like, what's the check number going to do for you? Nothing. It's not like you can track it by the check number. It's hidden in an envelope. Like, you'll know the check number when you get it in the mail. Stupid. So yeah, but anyways, also, like I said, the amount of emails is just ridiculous. And unfortunately, they're not like all junk that I can just delete like my engineering ones. They're mostly all important. It's this person looking for money, or it's this thing sending me an invoice, or it's this one sending me money, so I gotta register that with the bank and stuff, or else it's, I get quotes from, that's the internal teams sending me quotes that I gotta work on, or, oh man. And I try my best to keep my mailbox tidy. Like, that's what I like to do. I have tons of folders and stuff, but then you get all this accounting crap, and I'm just like, my inbox is it's just such a mess, and I don't know how to fix it. So anyway, that was one thing I forgot. The second thing I forgot is that apparently our previous CFO was pretty smug. And yeah, I don't know. For starters, like, she thought she was better than everybody, I guess. I guess that's half the reason why she wanted to leave. Like, she just felt like, I am just much better than this company. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, we work for, like, a, pretty small mom-and-pop company. We do service a lot of huge companies in the world, but at the end of the day, our operation itself isn't really, it's, I don't know, it's one location. Yeah, we got 3 buildings, but it's not like it's global and, but anyways, so yeah, apparently she just thought she was too good for that. And, I mildly get it why you might be kind of cocky like that, because a lot of the people there, especially in the plant, are just like losers. I mean, they're just people that some of them are like druggies, and a lot of them actually are like druggies, and they're just, the people with no aspirations for their life. And so that's why they end up working a stupid, crappy job in the plant, making minimum wage, because they had no aspirations to do anything more with themselves. I mean, you even got some that have been there with the company for a little bit, and they're just losers. Like, there's one guy, he's on like this, I don't know, they invented a shift for some people. It's, you work 3 days, 12-hour shifts, and you still get paid for 40 hours, though. So it's 36 hours that you work, but you get paid for 40. That means you get 4 days off a week. And it's basically, we put all the losers on there, which is kind of ironic. Like, these people suck as it is, and now they're getting, like, special treatment. They get 4 days off a week. They only have to work 36 hours, but still make 40-hour pay. Like, I don't know, they're getting rewarded for being crappy. Like, how is that fair? I mean, in comparison, I'm doing the CFO stuff and chief engineer stuff, and I'm not getting anything extra. Like, what the heck? I'm actually doing something good for you, but these losers get hooked up. But anyways, so that's where I can see why she thinks that. But, like, it's still like a weird, cocky, crappy attitude. Like, I guess, like she said, oh, when you hire people, you gotta pay attention to what they're like and make sure they fit in with the dynamic here or whatever, because of how, I don't even know what her logic was. Like, you gotta find somebody that's not too prim and proper because they won't fit in, but you can't find somebody that's too much of a slob because they also won't fit in. So, I don't know. But yeah, she thought a lot of herself, apparently. But the thing that I didn't like was she apparently also thought that she was so much smarter than everyone else there. And I get it. In the plant, sure. A lot of those people are just people. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But at the end of the day, she's definitely not smarter than everybody. For starters, I never saw her as smart. I mean, I'm not saying I thought of her as stupid, but I never really thought of her either as like, oh, wow, this girl is, she's got some high intelligence behind her. There's a lot of things I've noticed that were stupid. That's why I thought that. Like the way that she left the driveway. She used to always leave out the in-way. Like, that's not smart to me if you're not dumb that you're leaving out the in-way. I mean, I get it. She did it on purpose because I made fun of her once and she said, I do that. So then if somebody's trying to come in, I get to go because now they can't pull in because they got to wait for me to move. But I'm like, okay, it's still a dick move then. And it's still pretty retarded. But yeah, like, I don't know. There's that, or like, what else? There was other things that she used to struggle on that I thought was basic, like math issues. Like, she'd be trying to figure out her accounting stuff and, she'd be stuck on like, I don't know, some easy enough formula, and I'd be like, is it just me, or is this easy and you're an idiot? But yeah, and I always thought her job, I should say, that, people speculated that she was probably making decent money, and I was like, what? Just to do that? Like, it doesn't seem like she does really anything that hard that she should be making a lot of money. And they were like, oh yeah, but she's handling all the financials, so that's, you gotta pay good when somebody's handling all your finances. So anyways, though, I always thought, what? She makes good money for an easy job? And you know what? Now that I'm doing it, I still think it's easy. The hardest part was just learning the software. That's it. Other than that, there's nothing hard about this job. You enter an invoice, you match up a packing slip to the invoice, and you pay it. Wow, that's challenging. You must be smart to do that job. Anyways, the thing that really frustrated me, though, is because I know personally that she is not smarter than me. I know she's not. I'm not trying to be smug or anything. I just guarantee that she's not. I know she's not. That's one thing that I always pride myself on. I know I'm smart. And, yeah, saying that she's smarter than everybody. Yeah, you forgot one. Me. Don't be saying everyone. I'm part of that everyone. And no, you're not smarter than me. I guarantee it. Like, I learned her job in 3 weeks. In comparison, she apparently went to school for this, finance or accounting or something. But on top of it, she also had the previous CFO training her for a year. I had 3 weeks. And even then, 2 of the weeks that I had with her were pretty half butt, you know? Because the first week, she went on a mini vacation on Thursday, so I only had her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then the next week, we were off that Friday. I think it was Good Friday or something. And then the Thursday, before that, she didn't even see me at all. She came down at like 3. We leave at 4. She came down at 3 to help me. So I really only had her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then an hour on Thursday. So basically the same thing 2 weeks in a row. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, yeah. Point is I basically mastered your job in 3 weeks. Would you master my job in 3 weeks? A guaranteed no. Absolutely not. I know she wouldn't. 3 weeks and you'll be running things by yourself? So it's like, don't be acting like you're so smart, bruh. Because you have an easy job. Accounting. Wow. The other thing, also, is, you know, she acts like she's, I don't know, so much better and so much smarter than everybody. But, like, I hear stories about her past, like, her college days. Apparently, she was, like, sleeping with a different guy every week. And she was partying all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's not smart. To me, that's very dumb. Smart people don't make stupid choices like that. You know how many times I've been drunk in my life? Never. You know how many times I tried cigarettes? Never. You know how many times I tried drugs? Never. Okay? So even on that level, I'm smarter than you. So, yeah, F off with your stupid smug, oh, I'm so much smarter than everyone, I'm better than everyone. No, you're not. No, you're not. You forgot me. Anyways, I think that's it now. So, yeah. If you listen to this, thanks for listening to this with me. And until next time, I said see you.